they were like, did you see what was sent by Ari? And I was like, oh my God. Like Ari Emanuel, for those that don't know, probably one of, if not the most powerful person in entertainment. He had screenshotted a meme that I made and sent it to the entire company. And he had sent a meme around and said, who did this? And I was like, my life's over. There's gonna be hitmen coming out. I was in my house, literally pacing around. I looked like a crazy person.
Oh, hey, you're watching and listening to In Proximity. I'm Paola Mardo, and today I'm scrolling through my phone because we're talking assistants versus agents. No, I said flat white with oat. With oat! Whew. Okay, I'm totally kidding. Assistants versus Agents is an Instagram meme account that pokes fun at the wild world of Hollywood assistants. Being a Hollywood assistant can be glamorous, but it's also challenging and very tough. I know, I was once one myself, and Warner Bailey has created an Instagram account that pokes fun at that world through memes and posts and all sorts of fun stuff. What started as an inside joke amongst Warner and his fellow assistants when they were working in the mailroom on the music side of WME, one of the big talent agencies, has now grown into an Instagram account of 140,000 followers and a brand and platform that includes a newsletter, merch, a job board, and even a podcast. We hear a lot about the challenges of being a Hollywood assistant in the news and the trades, but what AVA is doing is shining a light on some of the positive things and poking fun at the kind of crazy world of being an assistant in this industry while also building community. We get into all that and how Warner is building AVA into a business. Here's my conversation with Warner Bailey. Warner Bailey, creator of Assistants versus Agents, excited to be in proximity with you. Thanks for coming to our studio here at Proximity.
Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, very excited to talk to you about, yourself and your journey from assistant to not necessarily agent. What do you call yourself these days?
I don't know, Jack. I wouldn't say jack of all trades, but have my hands in a lot of things. Yeah. Working on some content, educational ecosystem we're talking about, and actually some tech as well. So bunch of different areas, and certainly an evolution from the assistant days.
You're an entrepreneur, essentially.
That could probably be the right word for it.
Yeah. Well, before we start, we did want to do a little bit of an icebreaker. We dug into your distant past from your assistant days, and we found someone to send you a surprise question.
Oh my God.
Via voice memo. So you're going to have to basically guess who this person is and answer the question. You ready?
Yes, this is amazing.
Here we go.
Okay, Warner, my question is, what advice would you give every agent enabling them to be better mentors to their assistants?
Wow, I love that. Is that not Kirk?
It is Kirk.
It is, wow.
Yeah, can you, for those who don't know, can you say who he is?
Yeah, wow, it means a lot. We actually were just together a couple weeks ago when I was in New York, but Kirk was my third boss at WME. He's now co-head of the music department globally. Certainly a mentor to me. So that means a lot. And I think the question was around what advice. I don't think I need to give Kirk any advice. I think the best mentors and bosses that I've had, and Kirk being probably number one, gave me a seat at the table and listened to my opinion, and enabled me to be creative on the desk, as well as, after proving myself during my tenure as his assistant, but he empowered me. And I felt that was one of the first real times, with an exec who really gave me a shot, and I felt seen and heard. So I don't know if there's advice within that, but definitely see value in the people under you, and I see them as the leaders of the next generation. That's how I see the people that work for me now. But that means a lot. Kirk, truly a mentor, one of the nicest, kindest, most respected, and powerful people in the industry. So that's amazing, though. Was not expecting that.
Yeah, we were excited to get that. And for the listeners who are listening to this, because on screen I think we'll flash who this is, but it's Kirk Sommer, co-head of global music at WME.
And also, for the record, none of the memes are about him. He truly was a great boss. Love him. Cool. And we caught up in person a couple of weeks ago in New York. So wow. Awesome. Thanks for doing that.
No, yeah. Thanks, Kirk. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Kirk.
So when you were his assistant, was he at his position right now, or was he an agent? Like, what was his role at WME, and what was your day-to-day like?
Yeah, so he was, I believe, a senior partner. At the time, Mark Geiger was leading the Department of Music globally. And I mean, his roster is insane. The Killers were one of his first. Adele. It's incredible to go on his roster and see the breadth of talent he has worked with for many years, but also young emerging talent. So
That's awesome.
Day to day on his, I was the second assistant actually. So it was my third desk at WME. It's probably at that point it was my goal to work for him from the beginning.
Can you say why?
I mean, he was, again, going back to that advice, someone that really believed and enabled their assistants, but the path from who were his prior assistants to where they are within the company. Michael Coughlin, another great agent who I was with in Nashville recently. Alex Bramwell, who was my first boss, who was one of the youngest agents at the company, were his assistants before. So you kind of see, looking when you're in the mailroom, you're like, who are the agents that have had assistants go on to do great things at the company? And he was probably, to me, one of the top, certainly there. So it was always a goal to work for him.
I have to ask, I know you said the memes weren't based on your old boss or old bosses, but like assistant world is very, especially at an agency, I feel there's crazy stories.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy stories?
Coming from an area where I had zero entertainment ties, I applied to a job at WME on a Thursday after graduating, got it on a Friday, never been to LA. So they said, you have to be out here by Monday to start. So It was like a whole new world for me. I think I maybe flew through LA once. So as an assistant, there were certainly challenges of working 14, 16-hour days. The average assistant still in entertainment makes $45K. So I think financially it was really difficult to be in LA alone in a new city, not knowing a single person, but going to work, you were surrounded by a WME. It felt like you were in college again. You had 100 people on your floor who all were your age. You were integrated into a community of people who had shared interest. So I think at that point, I really felt like this is where the area, at least the industry that I'd like to be in. I think I quickly figured out being an agent wasn't for me, but I did enjoy my time as an assistant.
It's amazing. It's not easy working for someone that closely and kind of learning their tastes and how they like things. And I don't know if your bosses were that particular, but like, did that come naturally to you, or was there a bit of a learning curve?
There was certainly a learning curve because everything that you do at an agency is unlike anything that you learn or are exposed to in school. But to enter into the mailroom, essentially, we called it Music Central. You had to memorize a stack of, I think it was 120 note cards, and it had all the agents' names on it. You had to memorize their 4-digit extensions, all of their names, their assistant names, the role they had. At that point, it kind of filtered out who really wanted to be there and who didn't. But the first day, actually, I remember I got a call, deep British accent. I had no idea who it was. Literally, I think within the first couple of minutes, repeat his name. I said, do you mind repeating your name for me again? He did. I couldn't understand it. I was like, Kirk, I don't know who's on the phone. And he very nicely was like, yeah, who is it? And it ended up being, I won't give away who it is, but by name, but the biggest client's manager. And that was kind of a wake up call for me. Like, this is a different level at which things are operating. We laugh about it now, dropping probably the most important person the first 5 minutes. But those things were, it was definitely a new world.
Your field is music. Did you always want to work in music?
I did, yeah. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do growing up. From Philadelphia, went to school in DC at Georgetown and played a sport, got hurt, and had some free time. So started wanting to get into some sort of creative field. I took one graphic design class, which probably was pretty helpful to making memes now.
Makes sense.
But I always wanted to figure out how I could work in the industry because I was a terrible musician. I think I took guitar lessons for a day. I like bringing people together. So I started booking concerts and throwing events on campus and outside, and saw the music industry as an outlet for my creativity, but also I got that same sense of camaraderie, teamwork, and like working towards an ultimate goal, putting on an event that felt pretty similar to the athletic world.
The memes are oddly, even as someone who isn't an assistant anymore, I see it, I'm like, why is this relatable right now?
Yeah.
Actually, shout out Hannah Baker, my colleague, who actually turned me on to your Instagram account a couple years ago. I think the meme I saw was, it's a girl sitting in front of a computer, and the caption says, I have it written down, I should show it to you too. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to be a rock star with thick skin, able to work in a fast-paced environment.
Take that off your LinkedIn post, please. If you're promoting a job and you have rock star, thick skin, fast-paced environment, toxic. But yeah, it's like, it is funny that people that will reach out now that knowing it's me, screenshot and text it. Kirk does too, which is amazing. He's like, nice post. I'm like, oh God, what have I posted?
So I wanted to ask, why is it called assistants versus agents?
Yeah, so there is still an account out there called Agent versus Promoter. And a couple of us got together pretty early on and just created the account was purely a meme account at that point. Still, we definitely still post memes, but there were 10 people following it. So I never thought it would go beyond that. There were probably 4 of us that sat down and had the idea to do something.
And you guys were all agents, assistants?
Yeah. And we had just started. And this was before my time with Kirk. This was probably a couple weeks in. We were all sitting near each other. And Ben, Lauren, Eunice, and a couple others, Tim, we just kind of had an idea to put it together just for fun and share some funny content. So the name is an ode to that current Instagram account as well, which is very funny. Go check it out.
It's agents versus promoter?
Agents versus promoter,
okay.
Yeah. So it's very much geared towards the music side of the industry. And ours was, of course, at that point, and still is, an ode to being an assistant in Hollywood.
Yeah, I love that it's called assistants versus agents, but it can apply to really any like executive or boss within the industry, whether it's film, TV, or even music. But why the verses though?
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially it really was just purely based on that account. But looking back now, I think when you start at the bottom rung at a place like that, there's always tension between whether you're on a sports team, coach players, whether you're in whatever industry you can relate to being in a corporate environment or others, even in the world, there is that level of tension between people who are leaders and others who are at the beginning. I think the verses also is an ode to the unique things that assistants deal with versus the things that agents are dealing with.
Yeah, totally. And for those who don't know, because now assistants versus agents is more than an Instagram account, more than a meme account. How do you describe it to people you're just meeting for the first time and explaining it to them?
Yeah, so I was anonymous behind the account for years. There's an article or two that came out probably 2 years ago. And at that point, I was at a crossroads because I had a full-time job. I went to Live Nation during the pandemic, was at a couple tech companies, left, ran a festival in Phoenix for a couple of years, then launched my own company, running music festivals and producing them around the country. And at that point, when it came out, I still very much had a career that I thought that was it. I was going to be in music festivals. But that allowed me, when my name got tied to it, to sit there and say, what leverage do I have to do some good to the industry and also provide resources and empower that next generation? So sat down, put together a business plan, started writing a newsletter, and that was purely just a way to get emails. Now that's a very core part of our business.
Yeah.
And to this point, we now have a newsletter. We have a job board we just launched. We have panel series and events around the country. So we just did 600-person panel in New York. That was amazing to get in front of a lot of assistants, interns, and those wanting to break in to the industry. We've done events in LA, Nashville. We have Chicago, Boston. We have Philadelphia going back home and a bunch of other cities coming up.
You have a podcast? You have a podcast as well?
Just launched. Excited about that. Getting to interview people that really, I admire. We have a large community. We have leverage. We have access to these companies, these individuals. What can I do to help you succeed in ways that others weren't able to? The other side is the media side. So that's just because now I'm not a content first person. I really was building this from more of a business sense and on the event side. We're building out IP and storytelling that will be short form, long form, and have a bunch of stuff in production or in ideation as well as the podcast that just came out. The layer below that is a tech piece. So we're working on some pieces of tech to solve for some of those issues that hopefully will empower the next generation to be able to be creative on their desks. I'll say that much.
Ooh, very exciting. Oh my gosh. From this meme page to like a full-on business. What is the business model? Can you talk that through? I mean, it sounds like it's different streams of events. Is there subscription? Is there merch? There is merch. I've seen some merch.
Yeah.
There's some good merch, actually.
I got to send you some.
Yeah.
I should have worn
Please
some today.
do.
Yeah,
Please
of course.
do.
My aim is to diversify the revenue streams from the beginning, but also the core of it is it's hard to create a B2C model that charges a consumer, our community, that's making that $45K when they're entering the industry.
Yeah.
So anytime that I can create a B2B model. And a lot of what we've done is that. I'll emphasize it and really focus on it. So these events, brand partnerships, the core of it is how can we always go back to trying to avoid charging a fee to the people who, are just entering, because the disposable income is not at a premium, as you well know, when you're just starting out. So the big focus on that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it blows my mind that the average salary is $45,000 because I was probably making around that, a little bit less when I first started out too. So it's like nothing's changed. Has anything changed?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think things have changed. But again, I had a great experience as an assistant. I know others still don't, and they deal with some crazy Hollywood things that everyone does. But at the same time, there's a lot more opportunity to go out and start your own company, to be a creator, to start a podcast, to write a newsletter. There's tools at disposal for young creatives and people breaking into the industry that, if they have the self-starter mentality and can take a risk, it can often be very rewarding. So I think the thing that's changed the most is that you don't necessarily have to go into a mailroom to be successful in the industry, although that's what I did and I value it immensely. There's many ways to break into the industry now, I think that didn't exist in years past.
So you've built this business and you're an entrepreneur, and you just said that new folks coming to the industry, entertainment industry today, there's so many different kind of paths they can take. The assistant route is no longer the only way or the main way. But you also run your business on this whole idea of assistants versus agents. So would you still recommend the assistant path for people starting out now, or has your opinion sort of changed?
Looking back on my career, and I wrote about this the other day, if I were to start a career now, the most important thing you can do is focus on the room you're in versus the title you have. I think so many people worry about the titles early on. Am I an assistant or a coordinator, an intern? If you admire someone in the industry, find a way to go work for them, work closely to them. You will be able to jumpstart your career a lot faster than going to chase a flashy title at a bigger company. But yeah, I think being an assistant was incredible because I got to sit on calls with artists that I've admired and listened to since I was young. I got a chance to look through Kirk's and others, like contracts, and understand deeply what are the behind the scenes aspects that make the industry run. Things that I certainly wouldn't have, if I went and chased a title.
I think that's a really great piece of advice. It's interesting. I did not know about the agency route at all. It really wasn't until much later that I was like, oh, that's a way to in. I was just like thinking about movie studios or like, how do I get my foot in the door into there? But even looking back now, though, even though I had my fair share of interesting assistant stories and challenges, I did get really good training.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about agencies. Even when I was booking shows, I booked probably 50 shows in college, and I applied to a job at CAA and didn't get in. And WME, I just was like, must be the same. I really, at that point, had no grasp of even the difference really of what an agent did versus others. I knew I wanted to be in music. So yeah, it was just, I want to go. I know they have a great training program at these agencies. But yeah, I felt once I left there, I was like, there's nothing else you could throw at me that I haven't dealt with before, or at least know how to now deal with.
So you were just talking about like a survey you guys did, right? And I remember hearing about this earlier this year. You surveyed how many people?
For the data? I think we did over 4,000.
Yeah, what did you find out about being an assistant today? Like, what were some of the trends? There's a $45K salary.
Yeah.
What else were like some of the highlights?
Yeah, well, we did a recent one asking, do you feel overpaid, underpaid, or fairly paid? And 89% said underpaid, which wasn't surprising. 91% said if they went into their boss's office today, they wouldn't get a raise. And that was something we did more aligned with a different show that I was on. I think a lot of what we find is that sometimes people, especially from the outside looking in, feel that there is no roadmap to enter into entertainment. And that's what I'm also trying to solve for in our team.
Yeah.
And is providing those resources. So whether it be, we just started a new series called Rolling Calls, where we're going to bring in recruiters and allow college students to tune in virtually and submit their questions. What are the things you look for on a resume? Does a resume even matter? Is it a portfolio? Or
that would have been helpful.
But those were ideas that we're getting from our community, because just listening to them, what are the things that you want? A lot of them are, I want to understand how to even get an interview. The job market's really difficult. We started a series called Fun Employed, where we bring together, I think we had 500 people in LA that were all looking for jobs, and we brought them together. And I didn't even go. I was like, you guys have a space to now connect with each other, ask each other questions, hear from each other, maybe feel like you're not alone, and hopefully start a business. Like that's the goal, is from those events we're going to bring to other cities, bring people together that are looking for work, that maybe they have two ideas. There's a producer and a writer, on-screen talent and a podcast producer, and maybe come up with some fun ideas. So the things that we've really found are the job market is very difficult right now. We launched a job board that hopefully will help bring more opportunities, but there's also no roadmap.
You have an assistant now, right?
No, yeah. I mean, we have people working for us. I wouldn't classify. It's funny. I've been really holding back, like hiring an actual assistant, because I feel like, I don't know, it would be kind of, we have people working at various levels, but certainly very young, talented, smart individuals that have joined the team that I'm thrilled to have.
So do you roll your own calls, or does someone else do it for you?
I roll my own calls, yeah, and answer my own emails.
Do you do your own scheduling?
I do my own scheduling, yeah. I really,
okay.
It's funny because being like, it's not a control thing. It really isn't, but I feel like there's so much better use of people's time. There's enough apps out there and pieces of tech. Some we're developing, can't get too deep into it, but that anyone I want to hire is going to have a seat at the table, a voice, and I don't want them wasting their time with in the admin stuff. So yeah, some of it's tough. Like I've missed meetings because I've misscheduled, which is funny looking back. But anyone that I bring on the team, I want to empower them in a way that I wish I was at some roles early on. So no, I still answer all the DMs in the account too, which my wife is going to kill me at some point. She's extremely patient. We've been married a year.
Wow.
I'll be in bed at 11:30, just like going through and just answering people, because I feel so connected to it. And it's hard to give things up at that point. And it's not, I've given a lot of stuff up to people that are smarter than me in certain areas, but I feel like so connected to some of that stuff where if I just had someone else do it, I would kind of lose that.
So are you still the only person posting on the account?
No, so we have one other has access, Jalen, shout out. He has access to the account.
Shout out. And you have designers, you have people making the content.
I'm still in Canva doing a lot of stuff too, seriously. And I do all the memes, and besides Jalen and a couple others. But yeah, on the way here, I had an idea for a meme, and I have an app on my phone. I pulled over. That's probably,
That's why you were late to this meeting. Yeah, I'm totally kidding.
And pulled over and made it. And I think inspiration strikes wherever. It's on the 101 in 100-degree heat with the top down Jeep, which I should have put it up. But yeah, so I am still doing the grunt work, call it, but it's fun for me, like being so connected to it. It's something I'm passionate about and full time on now. I never thought I'd be. So
that's really cool. How do you, I guess, it doesn't sound like it's harder now that you're a boss to run this thing, because now, do you have more empathy for the agent side?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And yes, and it's hard to lead people, especially now in an environment where everything's virtual, or a lot of things are. I struggle with that because I built in a silo for, as I said earlier, 5 years where I was doing actually everything at that point. And also I still had a full-time job that didn't know I was doing it. I was running the music festivals that didn't really know I was doing a lot of this other stuff. So I think when you go full-time on something and you're so connected to the work, especially business owners, everything is on the line there. I don't have a security blanket here. There's no other option for me and path besides doing what I'm doing, which excites me. But also when I go and hire people, you got to make sure that they have the same level of passion and drive as you do. And, I'll give another shout out here. Dominic, he cold applied to a job we didn't even have open, wrote me a business plan and said, here are the things I think you should be doing.
Nice.
Hired him on the spot. And that was, the initiative taken there was unbelievable. But it is also, he's done amazing things for us. But the empathy part, it's hard to manage people, because I think when you're moving a million miles an hour to sit down and say, it is really important to train people, to take hours out of the day. Often I'm guilty of it too. It's really hard. So
you're answering DMs and you're rolling your own calls, and then you have to train people too.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally have empathy for that side of it.
Is there a hard lesson you've learned now that you are a boss about managing people? Yeah,
I think find people early on that really believe in the mission of what you're trying to do and delegate as much as you can. It is worth spending time up front to train people, to give them the opportunity, and it will free up your time later on when you're trying to now grow the business. So I think a lot of it, I still wanted to hold on to doing certain things. Not it was just by habit. So I think really taking the time early on to sit down and say, hey, let's take a whole day, whatever you need, 5 days, to train you and integrate. Because oftentimes you forget that they don't know what they don't know. So I think that is a big thing that I've learned the hard way. It's just things are moving so quickly. We have our hands in a million things. Is just slow down, just take a breath, and give them the training that they deserve. So, or at least the knowledge.
How big is your company right now?
We have about 7 to 10. We have some people working. So when we have a big project, we'll bring on contractors for some of these events. We'll bring on a lot more people. But we are developing a content arm of the business, which I'm really excited about, taking some of this IP that's existed, crazy assistant stories and others, into short form, long form, potentially some editorial things that we're working on too. So we'll grow the team a lot out in the next couple of months.
Cool. But you're about 7 to 10 full-time?
Yeah, very specialized though.
Okay.
So people like on the newsletter side, on growth side, on tech.
Gotcha.
So they exist in certain areas, but I've only been full-time on this for 6 months. So yeah, and it's we're in a stage now where we're moving quickly to grow the company.
Yeah, because 6 months ago you were still working your festival job and producing festivals and doing this on the side or just as a second job.
Yeah. So
and
Coachella was our last. I worked on the day events for Golden Voice called GV Surf Club. So it was at the surf club out in Palm Springs. That was my farewell festival. It's very bittersweet because it's something I've wanted to do since I was just entering the industry is working festivals. But yes, so full time and just getting my just having an understanding that an appreciation for the challenges ahead, which I think are exciting, and just growing a company.
Amazing. Wait, when they DM you, are these people asking for advice or commenting on the posts, or like what's? Yeah,
I mean everything. Some people just sharing stories, and some we can post, some we can't. Some submitting things, some just saying, "Hey, thanks so much for posting this." Yeah, I really feel like I'm not alone in this. Some saying, "Hey, come to Brazil and throw something." I'm like, "Can't buy me a plane ticket. I'll go to Brazil." So yeah, I mean, all types of different things come in, and a lot of it, people wanting to come work for us or have pitches, ideas, or do certain things. But I just have such an appreciation that people engage with the account, and it really it's very interesting because I have existed as this almost like an internet meme personality, which isn't really what I'm like in person. Like I think people are kind of surprised, to be honest, when they find out I'm the one behind Assistants versus Agents, which has been interesting to navigate. But I think just connecting with the community, especially at that panel and others, where you can just talk to people who are struggling in their jobs, just getting saying thanks so much for doing whatever it may be, bringing us together, or allowing. And it was amazing, the panelists that have joined us and the interviewees to share their own stories. So I just feel very lucky to be in this situation of having a community that is, I think has been undervalued for so long, that feels empowered now through whatever we're doing by accident or on purpose. And it just keeps me going and wanting to build more.
Do you feel like a lot of responsibility though?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because I could post something on that account that could turn the entire community against me, not in a way, maybe smaller, because so much of it is built off authenticity, and I'm not doing this for any money thing. I really feel so driven by everything we're doing, and there will be a lot of projects that stem out of this and people that we end up working with and collaborate with that we're talking to now, but making sure that every person we bring in or work with, whether it be in the podcast or a scripted show or, panelists, they understand the mission of what I am and we are trying to do. So I feel an immense responsibility. And also this is my life now. It's my, I put everything that I've had into this one singular project, which is now existing as many. So I feel a deep responsibility to the community that has allowed it to be my full-time job in a way, for sure.
Are there, I guess in the DMs or the stories you get, are there any that have stuck with you?
I mean, we've probably gotten 1,000 plus. What I will say is we're taking those stories and doing things with them in IP, which I'm really excited about. But there's crazy stuff. It's like trying to convince their boss to land a plane, or their boss trying to convince them to get clearance to land a plane at NASA, or but I always use this example of, it's the juxtaposition between sorting M&Ms for Marshawn Lynch one by one to trying to get your boss's cousin a visa, sorted 5 seconds later to go and running, 20 miles away to go pick up some very niche skincare product that you must have back within 20 minutes. So it's just the craziness of the selection of stories back to back and the range it was. Some of them are very serious. And I again, never have posted anything calling anyone out by name, because there's enough accounts out there, won't name them, that call people out, can get themselves in trouble. And just people, it's toxic side of the industry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to provide some laughter, I guess, but also group therapy in a way. And I always kind of say that, but
Community.
often community is the core of it. Exactly. And relatability to feel like I'm not alone in dealing with this absolutely insane task that I got asked at 4:55 on a Friday. Maybe there's other people that have done it before. Maybe they can help me out too.
Can you share the Ari Emanuel story real quick?
Yeah. So probably a couple of years ago, I wake up to no less than 100 texts and missed calls. If that's something like crazy happening, because it was people that I used to work with, a lot of people from WME and others. And
Where were you working at the time?
I think I was at Live Nation, or maybe off my own.
Okay.
I think it was like during the pandemic. So I was off working at a couple tech companies. And they were like, did you see what was sent by Ari? And I was like, oh my God. Like Ari Emanuel, for those that don't know, probably one of, if not the most powerful person in entertainment. He was head of Endeavor and WME when I was there. He had screenshotted a meme that I made and sent it to the entire company. And obviously at that point, no one really knew it was me besides the 100 people in our circle that quickly found out, I think, through that. And he had sent a meme around and said, who did this? And I was like, my life's over. There's gonna be hitmen coming out. I was in my house. I was like literally pacing around. I looked like a crazy person and I felt like a crazy person. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And then he sent another email that was like, I loved it. Wished you used, and he made a joke about what the exact meme was. It was in relation to CAA and a practical joke he had actually pulled when he was younger in his career. So I was like, damn, if like, I like Kirk knowing that this account existed, but now like also at that point, someone like Ari Emanuel knowing. So I was like, there's a lot of eyeballs on it. I kind of, have to toe the line a little bit. But no, it was scary at the moment for sure. It was crazy. I mean, I was like, why is the most powerful person, that I've interacted with sharing something? But thankfully found some humor in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you sent the follow-up. I loved it.
Thank God. If I didn't get that, I would still be pacing around. I'd probably be moved out of the country at that point. But it was funny. And like, I tell that story and I still have screenshots. I haven't posted the screenshot of it on the account. I've thought about it a couple times, but it is saved to my background.
Yeah.
I always click on it, I'll laugh. I'm like, yeah, this is crazy.
You should frame it.
I will. I should have framed it.
So we've come to our segment where you are going to show something that illustrates a little bit of your process. And you brought a physical object, which is very cool. And I will bring it out right now. And yeah, I'm just going to hand it to you. And why don't you tell us all about it? And please describe it for people who are listening to the show.
It's an old school manila envelope. It has two meanings for me. The first, a very personal one that I've actually never shared before, but my grandfather, who's still alive in his 90s and not retired, will send me one of these every month. And inside of it, we'll have news clippings. So things that he had read that week or month that he thought would be valuable to me. So very specific stuff like music industry or even the creator economy or just business advice.
Do you have stuff in there that you want to pull out?
I don't know if there's like, I don't necessarily know if there's like things that, cause I haven't read them, but I can show you.
Oh, this is from your grandpa.
This is literally,
Oh my gosh.
This is from him. So like there's actually clips in here.
Wow.
And I don't want to give anyone any free
Several
press,
pages.
but yeah, there's clips in here where I'll just have to go home and read these. Yeah, I mean, this one here, he brought the music of the world to the masses, and just a story about a guy who just passed. But like my grandfather has nothing to do with entertainment. He's very much in like an advertising business. And so it's fascinating for me to open up and learn about things that he had sent and read. That same style manila envelope was something that we used as WME assistants. And they still do, I'm sure, all assistants, where this is probably pretty triggering to look at if you're an assistant out there, but where you'd put a contract in there or something a lot high importance in these things. You'd write the agent's initials on it. The mailroom would come around with their carts and bring it over. For us, we tried to have a little fun with the system early on in our assistant days. So we would actually print out memes and we would stuff them into the manila envelopes, knowing very well that the assistant is the first line of defense to a boss always, on anything, on a call, on a physical piece of contract or manila envelope.
So they would be the one to actually open the mail.
Yeah.
Or at least
exactly.
this is inter-office mail, right?
Inter-office, yeah. But
I'm actually now remembering we had that at the studio.
This probably pretty triggering as well to you, but I haven't held this in a while. But it was just kind of a game we had early on where we would then pull it out. There was like 5 of us. That was the origin story of how Assistants versus Agents came to be as an Instagram account. So we, after doing this for a couple of weeks, we're like, let's just make an account out of this. And as I told earlier, When it got to like 20 followers, I was like, I actually may lose my job if someone finds out, let alone like 50. And then I started seeing people from like CAA and UTA or ICM at that point. And as silly as it sounds, because it really was just making memes and still is, like these things represent a big moment in my life where it's taking initiative and something that I was really passionate about and just having fun with it too. And finding ways to just enjoy the craziness of what being an assistant is or working in Hollywood.
Prox Recs. Prox Recs.
So we've come to the fun part.
This is the whole thing.
The whole thing's fun. Great. Awesome. Love that. We've done our job in proximity. Where we ask our guests to recommend something to our listeners and now viewers. Usually it's something to do with what, you do as an entrepreneur, meme master, however you want to call it. We don't have to say that if you don't
No,
want
I
to.
love meme master. Are you kidding me? I'm like blushing over here.
Okay, cool. So yeah, do you have a recommendation? A Prox Rec?
Yeah, I mean, and I've thought a lot about this one. I think there's, on the surface, my recommendation or piece of advice to anyone earlier in their career, and I've got a chance to listen to a lot, is don't wait for permission. If you are creative and you have this energy of wanting to create something to put out in the world that's never been there before, do it. And stop waiting for a reason why you can't. I think so much of my early career, I was spent just convincing myself on reasons why what I wanted to do would fail or that others would look at it and judge me for it. And looking back now, there were probably I got a late start into what I'm doing now, but I think those lessons of just going out and trying things, not waiting for permission from everyone else is probably the biggest piece of advice that I have for others. In terms of a rec, been loving Emma Greed's podcast. I also love this podcast. I've told you a couple times, a couple references early on before this of ones that I've loved, but there's just so much content out there, and just go and listen to things that aren't in your industry. Go and expose yourself to other industries, other people's other voices or opinions than yourself. But I think just going out and in the last piece I would say is just meeting people face to face. Like we've talked over email, we've chatted before and it's been amazing, but this time getting a chance just to meet face to face is so valuable, and a time spent with so much of your energy and time behind a phone. So those would be, I know you asked for one, I gave you 3.
It's great. We'll take them all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Warner. It was great to chat with you and be in proximity. And yeah, excited to see what you do next with Assistants versus Agents.
Appreciate you having me on.
In Proximity is a production of Proximity Media. The show is hosted, directed, and produced by Paola Mardo. Executive producers are Ryan Coogler, Zinzi Coogler, and Sev Ohanian. Theme song and additional music by Ludwig Göransson. Patrick Apino is our co-director and director of photography. Ken Nana is our sound designer and mix engineer. The production team includes Brittany Brown, Isabella Miller, and Alexandria Santana. Follow us on social media at Proximity Media. For transcripts and more information, head to proximitymedia.com.